Hi everyone, Dr. Gustin here. I just want to make a short video on showing you how to draw this evolutionary tree. A couple people were having a problem with it, so if you follow along, you should be able to do it. You want to make an evolutionary tree of the three groups of land plants that we've been studying. At the end of your handout, there's an example, and all the manipulations with all these drawing tables are to get you to draw a table that looks something like this, a character state matrix. And what you're going to see is for our evolutionary tree, we have a diagonal line, and that represents the progression of evolution. The characteristics that are acquired through evolution are on this line. Now, the trick is you want to put these characteristics into the characteristics that are least evolved to most evolved, which means that the characteristic that most of all the groups have in common is going to be at the bottom. And then as groups branch off, we're going to put these in order to where all the groups continue to have that characteristic in common. So what I mean is if I look at, in this one, it's an evolutionary tree of animals, in particular vertebrate animals, animals with a backbone. So here I have this little tick here, which means all of the organisms from here on up, all of them are vertebrates. So all these different kinds of animals, all these groups of animals have backbones. Now what happens in evolution is a group of those organisms actually were able to evolve and develop jointed appendages. Those that didn't evolve jointed appendages are in the group that we call the fish. So the fish branched off, other organisms went this way and evolved to develop jointed appendages. So that means every group of organisms from here on up have jointed appendages. The same thing, we get another evolutionary advance. The amniotic eggs were evolved. The organisms that didn't form amniotic eggs are the amphibians, so they branch off. They don't have those, but every organism from here on up does. Okay, the way that we plotted this is we looked at this character state matrix, and you draw your diagonal line, and then you're going to write your characters in order, because some of the manipulations that you're going to do on the with the land plants, you're going to put these characters in order. So you're going to put them in order from the least evolved vertebrae right here, jointed appendages, the next one, amniotic eggs, endothermic, and mammary glands, in that order. Okay. And all of these are vertebrae, but the fish don't have any other characteristics because I don't have any other ones. So the fish are going to branch off. They can't jump to any, they don't have any of these other characteristics. So I'm going to branch the fish right off because it has a 0 there. I'm going to branch it off right after vertebrae. I look at my next group of organisms. They have vertebrae and jointed appendages, but nothing else. So here's the amphibians. All the organisms have the vertebrae. The amphibians also have the jointed appendages indicated by this 1, but they don't have any of those other characteristics. So I'm going to branch the amphibians off there. The same thing happens. Amniotic eggs. Amniotic eggs. I'm going to go to my next organism. The reptiles. They all are vertebrates. They have jointed appendages. They have amniotic eggs, but nothing else. So I'm going to branch them off there. Okay, they're not endothermic, so I can't put them up here. So all of the manipulations you're doing in those tables is to get this table, this character state matrix, in order. So your characters are in order that you can just line them up here, and your organisms are in order so I can put them along my evolutionary tree. So if that's enough to help you understand, you can stop there. Otherwise, I'm going to continue and I'm going to go through those tables and show you how to do that. So the three organisms that we were dealing with, or the three groups of organisms, are the ferns, the gymnosperms, and the mosses. And the three characteristics we want to look at are vascular system. Do they have a vascular system? Do they live on land? Do they have seeds? And so I put these characters in a random order, and these three groups of organisms are in a random order. But you should be able to fill in the table, and we started doing that for you. So ferns do have a vascular system, so I wrote yes. So your question is, do gymnosperms have a vascular system? Do moss have a vascular system? And you're going to continue to fill in this table. Now the next one is look at what we call ancestral and derived states. So the ancestral state is a state that they all have in common. On our animal example, all of our organisms had vertebrae in common. They were all vertebrates. So what do they all have in common? Well, we were talking about land plants. So in the case of our ancestral state, land plants is our ancestral state. So we're going to check ancestral state for land plants, whereas both vascular system and seeds were the things that they have different groups acquired through evolution. So they were derived. So you're going to check derived for vascular system and seeds. Now I'm just going to manipulate the information that we just collected to get them into the order that we saw in that character state matrix, so we can easily draw an evolutionary tree. So what you're going to do is for everything that let's see, we're going to start with the derived state. If for all the organisms for the derived state you put a 0, okay? So we're going to put zeros for the derived state because they all lived on land, so they don't get any bonus points for that. And so here we're kind of showing who gets the bonus points. So everybody lived on land, so they don't get any bonus points for that. They all get zeros. But the ones that have a vascular system, you already wrote up here which ones those were. They get a bonus point. So ferns have a vascular system. We put a yes there. So we're going to put a 1 there. Gymnosperms, do they have a vascular system? If they do, they get a 1. If they don't, you can put an X or you can put a 0. It gives you the same result. Okay. Moss, do they have a vascular system? Did you put a yes up here? Either an X or a 1, or X or a 0 if they do, if they don't, or give them a 1 if they do. So fill this in with 1s and 0s and X's. Like I said, the X's are essentially a 0, so you can use 1s and 0s. I think it's a little easier to understand. Okay, now we're going to change the order of the characteristics. So this is where we're trying to get things in order. And the character with, let's see, we're gonna get the characters in order. So the character with 0 is on the top. So our derived state, the least points are on the top. Now when you go across these, how many of these, how many points did you get for vascular system? Well, you got at least 1, right? And so you're going to tell me if you got 1, 2, or 3 points. Seeds, did you get 1, 2, or 3 points for that? And whichever one has the fewer, you're going to put next. And then the one with the most points, you're going to put last. So what we did is we just ranked our characters based on least evolved to most evolved. Now we're going to rank, we're going to leave those characters in the same order. So take these that you put in order, write them here again. So now we want to put our mosses and our ferns and our gymnosperms in order. And what order does that need to go in? Well, you're going to look at leaving the order, reorder the plants in the columns. So the plants with the fewest ones are on the left. So this is going to be your least evolved plant, and this is going to be your highest evolved plant. So the one with the most ones from this previous table. Actually, from this table. Either or, it doesn't matter. And this then is going to look like that. Now you can go draw your diagonal line and your characters. You're going to put your least evolved at the bottom, your next most, let me see, I'll just even draw us a line. No, I have a problem doing that. No, I don't know why. I'm having a little problem doing that. But anyway, you can draw your diagonal line and you're going to put a little tick mark for your first character, a little tick mark for your second character, and a little tick mark, just like these, for your third character. And then your organism should be in order. So you're going to branch one off after the first characteristic, branch one off after the second, and branch one off after the third. Okay? I think that should help. Let me know if you have any problems. Good luck.